I think on the topic of privacy, there's a lot of features that Google has rolled out with this new iteration of analytics. Just to touch on a few of the key ones, I think IP address anonymization is a really key factor of privacy within this new iteration. Obviously, this ties in a lot with European regulations, but it applies to everybody. And believe it or not, within Universal Analytics, IP anonymization was an optional setting that we as users and marketers could control ourselves. Whereas with GA4, this is something that they're implementing on their end, and it cannot be altered by any users on our end. So what this means is that essentially Google is no longer logging or storing any IP addresses on behalf of your website visitors. Another key aspect that I think that marketers should definitely be aware of is around data retention. So this is another, setting within GA4 that is applicable to privacy. Essentially, this is going to prohibit marketers from retaining any unaggregated data for more than 14 months. So first question I had was, what is unaggregated data? What does that mean? Does that mean all of my data and analytics is only going to be available for a 14th-month period? No. Unaggregated data is really going to refer to some of that more granular, segmented data that you might be looking at within your exploration reports in GA4. So let's just say you're narrowing in on a really specific audience. That's the type of data that's going to be restricted in terms of how long you can retain it. And again, the maximum amount of time is 14 months. If you're looking at things like your standard reports, which are kind of like more of that holistic view, if you're looking at overall website traffic and understanding, how much traffic do I have, how many users, page views, etc., that data is not going to be impacted by this data retention setting. So you don't have to worry about that.
Perfect. Well, thank you for jumping into that question. I know that that's one that comes up. Is there any other feature that you want to highlight before we move on?
Not necessarily a feature, but just a note, if you're on this webinar right now and you've worked ahead to get GA4 set up, and this is the first time you're hearing about this, definitely recommend taking 2 minutes out of your day this afternoon to go in and ensure that your data retention setting is set for 14 months, because there are two options, one of which is 2 months, and I believe that that's the standard setting. So if you haven't updated that, then all of that unaggregated data is only going to be available for a 2-month time period when you have the option for 14 months.